In this era and age, we do not purchase cars for just a luxury, but they have become a need and our assets that we must take care of in every way possible. That is why we insure our cars to ensure their safety and protection for any sort of unpredictable future loss. However, a lot of Kenyans have found themselves in huge disputes with their motor insurance providers due to unclear clauses in their policy documents that only get noticed when an incident occurs. It's another episode of Moolah Insider, and this week we'll be looking into some of the details you need to keenly check before you pay any single coin to any motor insurance provider. Kenbright's CEO and Chief Actuary Ezekiel Macharia will take us through some of these motor insurance cover details that you must clearly understand, or ask your insurance provider to elaborate early enough to avoid getting into a crisis once an accident occurs. I will be your host, Margaret Wahito. But first is a word of the week, and a word of the week is average clause. Now, this is a condition by which an insurer determines that the payment for any damage or any loss will be proportional to the value insured. This means that if your insurance policy has an average clause, this may allow your insurer to reduce their liability for the damage in proportion to the amount of underinsurance. Now, next is our key highlights. The Kenya Revenue Authority has warned traders to be cautious to avoid falling prey to fraudsters masquerading as KRA employees in a bid to extort them. The taxman, in a public notice, said the imposters have been soliciting bribes from traders, urging businesses to confirm the identity of the officials using formal channels. The warning comes amid an aggressive pursuit of suspected tax cheats, marked by the raids on premises by KRA officers and property auctions. The Ministry of Water and Sanitation has stopped exploration of the 250 billion cubic meters aquifer in Turkana due to the high cost involved in the project. The government says the project would cost 50 million shillings a month on power bills alone. The Lotikipi aquifer was discovered in 2013, but since then there has been little activity going at the water point. Hydrologists projected that the 250 billion cubic meters of water could meet Kenya's water needs for 70 years. Now, back to our main story of the week. In Kenya, motor insurance cover is mandatory. But do you buy car insurance just because it is mandatory? Or do you buy the minimum possible cover for your car so that you can pay lower premiums? If the answer of any of these questions is yes, it means that you're committing a big mistake. Though car insurance is mandatory in Kenya to drive a car on the road, the main purpose of car insurance is to protect your vehicle against financial consequences in case of an accident, theft, or loss in the event of natural occurrences. Now, this week we'll be joined by Kenbright's CEO and Chief Actuary Ezekiel Macharia, who will take us through some of the things to look out for before you purchase any insurance cover for your vehicle. Let's take a look.
One thing people need to realize is the cost of repairing cars have gone up. And one of the key areas people forget about is whenever you see that dollar going up, whenever you see a dollar going from 80 shillings or 90 shillings to 110, that means your spare parts coming into the country, which are priced in the dollar, are also going up. Okay? So on one side, you're paying your insurance premium in Kenya shillings, but your repair cost has some currency, exposure. So some of those factors are eating into the insurance companies' costs. I know some insurance companies' prices are a bit soft, not as what they should charge, but in the whole of it, the money out is more than the money in. So Moto is one of the key insurance services in Kenya. And why is that? Is because if you look at general insurance, Moto composes a third of that business. It's about 45 billion shillings. Medical is another arm, which is about 42 there. And then the other classes, the other ones that you know about, marine, work injury benefit and the rest. So Moto is a critical class. In fact, 20 years ago, Moto was 50% of the market. So it's just the growth of the other classes that's driving it. And one of the key things helping Moto is because we have a mandatory requirement to have motor insurance for our cars. And the mandatory insurance is not the comprehensive. I always tell people it's the third party which is comprehensive. Then people can buy, comprehensive insurance. So motor in our market is mandatory, and the key benefits are, if you hit somebody on the road or you hit somebody's car, you get reimbursed. So that's really the purpose of the motor insurance. So the key thing people should check out is, what am I being paid for? What is the insurance going to cover? I know insurance in Kenya has been, we call it commoditized, so it's just, the rate is X percent without checking the risks. But starting, I think last year, the insurance companies are getting wiser and they're a bit more, innovative towards who should pay more. So we've started at the first level, which is value of car, because the statistics have shown the cost of repairing a more expensive car compared to the value of the car is lower than these other cars. So that's a key area that people should look out for. And also type of insurance company you're working with. One is you also need to look at insurance companies who are profitable. Why? Why do you want somebody profitable? It's a very simple thing. If somebody's profitable, it means that they have money to listen to you in case you want a favor. We call it ex gratia. But sometimes it applies to more of the large corporates. But also, if you look at an insurance company that is profitable, they might be a bit more lenient on you. But if somebody's making losses because they didn't collect enough money to pay claims, it's not that they don't want to pay you extra, it's just that they don't have the money. Buying any product, whether you're buying a TV or a phone, you still need to look at what are you buying. The problem is that since motor insurance has a mandatory side to it, people tend to ignore the features. It's like if we're all forced to buy phones and then we just don't care about which phones we are buying. That is where motor insurance has gone to. One of the areas people need to understand is that if you hit somebody on the road, it's you who has hit the person. It's not the insurer. So the insurer reimburses you up to what he promised you. So if, for example, you hit somebody on the road and they sue you for 5 million shillings, if your policy only pays 3 million, then that is what you'll get. You still have to pay the extra 2 million. You should be keen on checking, what are you really purchasing, and those are very cheap services. Some insurance companies charge you, like 1,000 shillings for every million extra. Some small amounts. So those small enhancements are the ones I would say consumers need to look out for. People need to check, what are my third-party property damage limits? What am I getting back if I hit somebody on the road? There are also areas where insurance companies look at your passengers. Let's say you're carrying somebody and then there's an accident. There are also some benefits where they cover you for legal costs because somebody might sue you. So legal liability there. Also, there may be other areas that consumers like to look at, like windscreen, But so the windscreen also has a limit. They might say, we'll pay you 50,000 for your windscreen, but to replace your windscreen, you may need 100,000. So that's now where the consumers start getting angry, because they feel that the assumption was that if I do anything on the road, one, it's not my fault, and two, since I'm not the one paying, I should not be involved. Consumers need to understand that it's you who was on the road, it's you who caused the accident. The insurer is just coming to be your friend, to pay your bills. The first thing you need to know is that the insurance company has asked for a small amount in exchange to promise a big amount. So those are the fundamentals. They ask you pay us 4 shillings in exchange for 100 shillings in case some rules happened. So now, to paying you back that 100 shillings is where the complexity comes in, and that is where the consumers need to know. Now, one of the key areas insurance look at is small claims. Okay, insurance companies prefer if you pay the small claims. Now we've come up with a fancy word for it. We call it excess. So we say you pay the small claims, maybe 20,000 shillings, 10,000 shillings. You pay it, and then the insurer only pays big claims. And it's just to make sure you're more careful on the road. So that is called excess. Now, if you want to not pay for excess, you buy an excess protector. So that's how, you know, that's one of the key areas. The second one is insurance companies also look at cause. We have exclusions. For example, if you look at one of the key exclusions that insurance policies had, and this is historical, it's not a Kenya issue, but just globally, is things like war, civil uprising. So political violence and terrorism was one of the key exclusions that people are not covered for. So that one is an area that you need to look at buying back. A third area which insurance companies like to upsell to consumers is something called courtesy car. Courtesy car is simply assuming your car is in the garage, you can get a car, but then they base it on the number of days or the car value. So those are all what we call the famous benefits.
After that informative insights on some of the things to consider before taking up any motor insurance policy, let's take a look at some of the key points you need to know before and even after getting involved in a car accident or incident. This is to help you avoid unnecessary costs. The first thing is to report the incident on time. That is, tell your insurer about the whole incident immediately and explain the facts and the extent of your injuries. You can also call your insurance agent while at the scene. That way, they can tell you exactly what they'll need in order to process your claim, and you can get your vehicle repaired as smoothly and as quickly as possible. The second thing to do is understand what the insurer requires. It is key to always be aware what documents your insurer requires in case of an accident, theft, or even fire. And this is information that should be clarified by insurance provider before signing the policy document. This could be the police reports or abstract, which is always key, driver's license, pictures of the incident, updated insurance cover, and others. Don't forget to renew your insurance policy. Many Kenyans have found themselves in this situation where they got into an accident like a day after the insurance expired without their knowledge. The best way is to have a constant reminder a day prior to the expiry date. Try use your agent or your insurance service provider to remind you. Last and not the least, know you also have your rights. Once clear about all the clauses in your policy and your insurer refuses or delays to pay your claim, you can always lodge a claim through the Insurance Regulatory Authority and have your claims paid. Others have also gone through the legal process. You're watching Moolah Insider, and to watch our previous episodes, Season 1 and 2, please log on to www.moolah.co.ke or link with us on our social media pages. Now next is Pursuits.
Mimi naitwa Paul Kihuha. Hiyo ndio majina ya mama, lakini jina yangu hasa ni Protisa. Watu wananijua sana kwa ufundi wa kutengeneza equipment za filamu, but mimi feel hiyo ufundi ya kujenga hiyo film equipment ndio the same thing. Ukiapply the same knowledge kwa anything else, itawaka hivyo.
Miaka ni mingi imepita, yes bana, bado hujapata mama, yes bana.
Fast. Nilikuwa rapper. Ikafika point sikuanga na dough, understand, yani sikuwa hata na uwezo, hata sikuwa hii record ngoma hata moja. So ile chance nilipata kurecord ngoma moja, tena ikakuwa shida video, kwa sababu video ni very expensive, alafu wanahitaji hizo equipment. Sasa mimi nikadecide mimi ni fundi na mimi najitambua si ni make equipment ya filamu ya kushoot video. Ndio video yangu isini cost a lot. So nikatengeneza hiyo equipment, nikapatia yule director nilikuwa nataka nifanyie hiyo video. Yeye akafurahia the equipment than the artist. Si unaelewa, akaanza kuihire out. So others wakaanza kuona ule jamaa kuna kitu fulani. Hiyo time hata hakukuwa na hizo mavitu Kenya. Around 2012 hapo. So wase wakaanza kusema hata mimi naweza taka, nikaona basi naweza make 2-3. Alafu hivyo tu unajua like haujui kesho. Bado wewe ni mwanafunzi, wacha kudhani umepata ujuzi. Mimi hutumia hii chuma ya kawaida yenye mtu anatengeneza nayo mlango, unakuta mimi ndio natengeneza nayo crane, lakini unapata the only difference between equipment yangu na ya nje, yangu inaweza live longer, but hizi zingine zote ni same. Unaweza weka kamera heavy but uchange COG, ukivuta hii side inakuwa heavier, stand imebaki na the same weight, and with hivyo ina work easier. Biashara yangu tunaget sido, mimi sijawahi chukua loan isipokuwa tule kama mshwari hivi, unajua hiyo ile do ya leo, but sijai enda kwa bank kuitisha loan ndio ni boost biashara yangu. My first job kabisa yenye mimi appreciate, nililipwa 3500. Jamaa fulani akanipigia, akaniambia yo kesho niko na shoot nataka doli. Sikuwa na doli hiyo time. Nikashikanisha mavitu nini. Tukaenda Doni, kwanza nilibeba na matatu. So venye tulimaliza shoot, tukaenda na yeye kwa bank. Akatoa 5k akanipatia 3500. Mimi mpaka nilikuwa nasikia kuachanisha hiyo doli huko. Si unaelewa, kwa sababu hiyo ndio ilikuwa my first 3500 kwa a day. Sikuwa najua huku mbele a day utakamkumake do zingine mingi, hata kama si kila siku. Si once nimeuza equipment worth labda 900,000, 500,000, 300,000, 1 million. Mi kama producer venye nili create my equipment, alafu tukakuwa tunaenda kushoot na hizi my equipment, kwa sababu wase wengi wajui kuzitumia juni zangu, hakuna place ushawahi funzwa. So ni mimi nilikuwa naenda on hiyo, nikalearn kuoperate ma cameras kwa sababu ni mimi niko huko. Imagine hiyo shot vile inaweza kuwa fit easy. Nikalearn kudirect, so nikakuwa na direct tu vitu kidogo. So watu wakaanza kuniita auditions. Kwa hizo auditions ka zote in Kenya, juu sisi ni wa young, mpaka yule big artist mwenye unajua kwa TV anakujanga kwa audition. Si unaelewa whether ni audition inakaaje. So unapata juu yenyewe unajua huyu ni nani, huyo mostly ni yeye utapea job. But 90% ya wale wengine ni wenye hawajulikani. Si unaelewa, so hawana chance ya kupata kuingia kwa hiyo show, si ndio? Hawa wase wenye 90% wenye hakuna mtu anawajua wanaendanga wapi? Nika decide kukama up na Producer Foundation. Nilikuwa naleta wase pamoja, so ikafika point ikagrow mpaka nikashindwa kuihandle. Si unaelewa, kwa sababu ilikuwa kitu ya free. Sahiji ya history ya COVID, job ya yetu ya production, unajua hiyo ni kitu public, so imeenda chini kiasi. Venye niliona nimekaa sana home, si unaelewa, sina anything ya kudu, nikaanza ka project fulani kanaitwa Nairobi Rescue Team. Ni based on mavijana fulani. Niko na mavijana fulani nimekuwa nikimenta na kuangana kitu inaitwa Producer Foundation. Ni wase wa deadly sana, wanaruka sana, yani like ni ma acrobat dancer. So Nairobi Rescue Team iko inspired from activities Manolo wanadu. So unaelewa, ala sasa ni story yangu na mimi na shoot, mimi na edit. Juu sichukulika kazi, though mimi si editor, mimi si camera person, unaelewa. But kwa sasa ni mimi na do everything. Shule nimesoma miaka mingi sana, kwa nimesoma class 1 mpaka class 8. So nilienda class 1, nika repeat class 1, nikaenda mpaka class 8. Hiyo ni miaka 9. Juu 8 alafu ku repeat class 1, alafu sikumaliza class 8. So mimi sikupewa certificate ya KCPE. After hapo God ni mso. So nage, after hapo nimefunza mayuni. Like saa hii niko Kenya Film School. Na nashukuru sana kina Victoria Goro. and wao ndio waliniona wakasema cheki wewe, ile kitu uko nayo ni kitu wengine hawana, kama funza hawa students, unaelewa. Na try my best, but hii job yote sidhani kuna anyone alinifunza, but na believe ukikuwa na njaa ya kujua kesho lazima una dig deep, kesho inafika alafu una dig deep, unaelewa, unaendelea ukiget kujua vitu mob huko hivi chini.
We now look at the leading indicators this week, starting with the stocks and foreign exchange. Next, the prices of the basic commodities this week. That's all we had for you this week. To watch your previous episodes, please remember to log on to www.moolah.co.ke or link with us on our social media pages. I was your host, Margaret Wahito. See you next week.